20 event 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship Tour. A season that is starting to shape up as one of the most historic in the fabled history of this, the world's most prestigious short track stock car racing series. Why? Primarily because of this man. His name is Sauter, Johnny Sauter, and he hails from a family with a tradition of turning left. He came to this season as an ASA rookie, but has been giving the veterans fits all year.
My goal this year in ASA would be to be able to win 1 to 3 races, and I really believe we can do that. Obviously, I have my eyes set on Rookie of the Year. I really think that's within grasp. And who knows, I believe we can finish in the top 5 in points if everything goes as planned. We've got awesome people, we've got awesome equipment, we've got the greatest car owner in ASA racing. The sky's the limit, I believe.
Those words came from Johnny Sauter at the beginning of the season, and at that time they were more than reasonable. But now he's won 4 races in the last 5 outings, and we have to wonder if Mr. Sauter might have changed his goals just a little bit. How about it?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously taken a better look at the situation and maybe think we have a run at the championship here, and my main focus right now is just to keep winning races.
Well, they said at the beginning of the year the sky was the limit and they're really shooting for the moon. But there's a bunch of folks out there looking to stop him, right, Buddy Baker?
Chris, there's no question about Johnny Sauter being a hot item. This got even the champion from last year, Gary St. Amant, growing facial hair. What are you going to do about this kid?
Well, you know, we're racing here at Toledo Speedway, you know, pretty close to our hometown of Columbus, Ohio, and we plan on putting this Wins AC-Delco Chevrolet up front all day today, and hopefully can take home a win.
No question in my mind about him being able to win. Sandy Hang?
Kevin Sowinski earned the nickname of Kevin So-Win-Win-Winsky by winning 3 in his rookie season. Well, now Johnny Sauter has eclipsed that mark, and Kevin had a 2-year drought, finally was able to win again. The question is, you've had a 3rd place position here at Toledo. What's it going to take to get the checkers?
Well, this is a great little racetrack, and for us, a great short track is where we need to be for that next win.
Well, 3 starts here, all 3 top 10s. He would like the checkered flag. Bob?
A maze of people during ASA's autograph session trying to find Mr. Consistency. Butch Miller has finished in the top 10 in every race so far this year. Butch, as the series points leader, you have got to be concerned with Kid Sauter. Any ideas on how to stop him?
Well, first off, you know, I used to like him, and then after he won a couple races, I liked him a little less, and now I don't like him at all. You know, I just want to win. Trade all our poles, our points lead, anything for a win right now.
Well, Butch Miller is in the #1 spot in the points. He's in the #1 spot to start this race. He's hoping to be #1 after the race as well.
And there you have it, the thoughts of 3 veterans, past champions all, and those of the youngster looking to upset the established order. It's just the kind of storyline that always sets the stage for great racing. It's another stock car short track attack next on TNN.
On behalf of the great people of General Motors, racers, start those Vortec engines.
And with that order from Arv Mueller, the engines spring to life. 33 runners ready to do battle here in Toledo in the Glass City 300. At the point will be a fellow who's been there on 3 other occasions this year. Number 52, Butch Miller from Coopersville, Michigan, has captured the pole position and will lead the charge into turn #1. He'll be flanked on the outside of the first row by Gary St. Amant, then Tim Taylor, his best qualifying of the year, and Greg Stewart outside row 2. That's a pretty good story right there, buddy.
Greg Stewart wrecked yesterday in the final practice, had to put a complete new front end on the car, went out and qualified 4th.
Number 10 on the starting grid, you see him there, number 9, Johnny Sauter, coming from the 10th slot. But he's won from further back than that, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He started 16th once and won. You never count this kid out. He really knows how to take charge in any race, and it does not matter where he starts.
Scott Frazier looking for a turn of luck. Number 22, Ryan Zeck there. And also in mid-pack, we have a trio of runners that have to be reckoned with. Kevin Sawinski, Mike Eddy, and Mike Cope in the 8th, 9th, and 10th rows.
Yeah, and you can never count out Mike Eddy, a true champion. 7 times he's been champion in ASA.
12th row, we have Tristan Dupuis back in the number 55 car this time. He won the qualifying race yesterday. The names you see on the board were in the qualifying yesterday. They fought their way into the main event this afternoon here in Toledo. Francesco Gadesi there, Travis Price, and the number 70 car, Brandon Fagan from Michigan State University. We'll talk more about that car as the afternoon wears along. We are at the Glass City 300. It is round 10 of this season, and we're going to have a green flag in just a moment. Stay there. ASA AC-Delco Racing is brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. Field is rolling here at Toledo Speedway in preparation for the Glass City 300. The championship this year is led by Butch Miller as we approach the halfway point. You heard Bob talk to him about that a moment ago. He's the only one in the top 5, hasn't won a race, but he has been consistent. He has completed every lap of this season, and every race he's finished in the top 10. That's why he leads the points. In the next group of 5, we have Scott Hansen, who has a tremendous amount of a success here on this course. Now, let's take a look at our BF Goodrich Tires point of view. BF Goodrich Tires, take control.
Welcome to the ASA gas station. The VP Racing Fuels makes a very special fuel. Hey, pretty blue, huh? They make this fuel for the Vortec motor, which is a high-performance V8 motor put out by General Motors. They do a few changes to it, but it's basically lead-free like you buy from the pump. The ingredients they put in the racing fuel make it run a little cooler, a little purer, runs the price up to about $3.40 a gallon. You can get all you want, though. Bob Dillner?
Buddy, a couple of guys who will be standing on the gas extra hard today are a pair of Buckeye Bullets. Ohio natives Gary St. Amant and Robbie Pyle. They have family and friends in the grandstands. Will that be intimidation or a good luck charm? We will certainly find out. But I can guarantee you one thing. These guys, the battling Buckeyes, will be extra fast on this tricky racetrack. Sandy?
There's something else tricky about Toledo, Bob, and it's this brand new pit lane. It's tight in here. There's no room to move. The asphalt's so new. Well, it was just laid on Friday. It's going to be a squeeze getting in and out of pit lane, and it could impact the race. Chris?
Well, Sandy, experience could have an impact on this race as well, and Scott Hansen has some serious experience at Toledo. Ask me who has more ASA poles than anyone here. I'll tell you, Scott Hansen with 3. Ask me who's got more wins in ASA than anyone else here. I'll answer, Scott Hansen with 3. Ask me who's got more podiums than anybody else here. The answer, Scott Hansen with 3. Ask me who's got the single lap record when they come into the town in 2001. Well, the answer is Scott Hansen. He did that a couple of years ago. Also, who has won the most money here than anybody else in ASA racing? Well, it's Scott Hansen. Great experience at Toledo. That's this afternoon's BFG POV. Field continues to warm up the tires. Johnny Sauter had said at the beginning of the year that he wanted to be Rookie of the Year and win a couple of races. Well, Buddy Baker, now he's changed his focus a little bit, but he might get that Rookie of the Year along with everything else.
I think one thing we have to remember, we're talking about a family tradition. His father, Jim Sauter, won 7 times in ASA a winner. Tim Sauter, 6 times in a championship. Jay Sauter, 1 time winner here. And Johnny this year, 4 times. You guarantee one thing. They didn't talk baseball, they talk racing around that table.
And as we mentioned a moment ago when we gave you the grid, he's got a little ways to go. Is it a too tall order to get 4 in a row? Well, we're going to find out in a few moments. Meantime, Sandy hangs in the pits.
Well, there's one driver you should take note of and watch. That's Tim Taylor, who has a 3rd starting position. He was up for candidate for Hard Luck Driver of the Year, but over and over again, he has managed to start in the back of the pack and work forward. Now, for the first time, he's starting near the front. Watch this guy. He may show us some fireworks here before the 4th of July.
Pace car has pulled away. Butch Miller has control of the field. They look pretty good in 3 and 4, buddy.
They're coming down for the green flag. 18 degrees of banking in the corner here. Very fast through the corner. They're off.
Green flag waves. Tom Powell says you're racing, gentlemen. On the outside, high in turn number 2, it's Gary St. Amant. He runs to the point, sliding by Butch Miller into turn number 3 and 4, about to complete lap number 1. We go on board looking back from Butch Miller's car at Greg Stewart running in 3rd.
And that's Scott Hansen with the red hood moving in there in 4th spot.
So Scott Hansen in pretty good position. He's a veteran on this track with all that success we outlined a few moments ago. Now Miller goes around the outside, the high groove paying off early as he takes the lead.
Yeah, Gary saying, oh, we have trouble coming off turn 4.
And we have several cars involved. I see Tristan Dupuis is sideways. He's locked horns with a perhaps Davin Seitz. That looks like the 06. It is. So Davin Seitz is underway, but with heavy damage.
Oh, Joey Clanton also involved, 2nd place in the point track now.
So Joey Clanton having to consider the pits. Also Davin Seitz, also Tristan Dupuis.
And Mike Garvey came by very slow then. He looked like he was involved.
So we'll take a look at a couple of replays and sort out exactly what happened. There you go, see the leaders go by. Here it comes, buddy.
Well, you can see right there the 10 of
Matt
gets
Sealski
into the back of Clanton and turns him around, and here they go. Just chain reaction as they go down into turn 3. No way to avoid it.
Take a look about 4 cars back, and sideways is Clanton as Matt Sealski put the nose of his car right under that rear bumper, and then everybody scatters. There's the contact right in the middle of the frame between the 06 and Tristan Dupuis. One more look, buddy.
Okay, you can see Sealski there in the 10 car. He gets in the back of the 83 of Joey Clanton, and they make contact there, and everybody else, you see Johnny Spa right there, and he getting involved. Everybody going through there very carefully right now. Racetrack nearly blocked.
And I think number 87, David Elliott, also was collected, at least made some contact with the Clanton car as it went by. There's Davin Seitz. He has taken his machinery to the pits. Scott Frazier suffered some damage. So did Tristan Dupuis. We'll be back in a moment to continue. Back to the Toledo Speedway. We're about to go back to speed. The unofficial count on the wreck in turn 3 and 4 was 10 cars on board with Mike Garvey, buddy.
Mike Garvey, and just on the outside there in the 83 yellow car there. That's Clanton, and you see Sealski gets in there a little hot. They make contact.
And off they go. 10 cars involved. Sandy's with one of them.
Well, I'm with Joey Clanton right now as crew chief Gene Roberts says they may need a full rear end change. Joey, what happened out there?
I don't know. We were sitting there riding, early in the race, and we're just following the 9 car. I mean, he's been strong, we've been strong. We're just going to follow him up through. Everybody was getting the inside, and they were leaving the outside wide open, and went down in the corner down there, and somebody must have just lost their mind or lost their head or something, didn't match the brakes, and run in there and got us hard. So turned us around, tore up the rear end. Now we're just out here to see if we can get back out there and ride.
That's obviously disappointed Joey Clanton. We've got green flag racing again.
We do, and we still have Butch Miller on the point with Gary St. Amant right behind, but 3rd place has changed as the Mr. Hansen has gotten through there. Scott Hansen with a good attack against number 33, Greg Stewart. Here we look backward from Butch Miller's car. That's Gary St. Amant just behind.
That's pretty neat. You ride with the leader and looking back at Gary St. Amant just a half a car length back, and then Scott Hansen in the number 5 car there in 3rd spot.
And those 3 are breaking away just a little bit, and it looks as though Hansen, as he took that low groove right down on the white stripe, having a little peek around St. Amant, wants that 2nd place as soon as he can get it.
Yeah, and Greg Stewart there in the 33 car, the car that we talked about in a wreck yesterday in the last practice, up to full stop now, and then 4th spot.
Tim Taylor is in the 4th spot now, 5th spot. He's been shuffled back a little bit since the restart. Robbie Pyle runs in 6th, and Johnny Sauter up from 10th to 7th in the early going. And now we have an attack against Butch Miller. He gets caught out. There goes St. Amant. There goes Scott Hansen. Butch Miller made a little bit of an error pushing high in that corner.
Well, what he did, he made a late apex going in the corner, which is a little wider angle getting in, and Gary St. Amant just moved right in on the bottom. The bottom part of this racetrack is a little bit quicker than the higher group. So Gary St. Amant, being a guy that takes advantage of all opportunity, dove down and brought Scott Hansen right with him.
He won a race earlier this year out in California, but he's been disappointed with himself a little bit, I think, over the last several races, a month or so. Buddy, he said he was going to go after it a little harder here, starting right now in Toledo?
Well, a race car driver says 1 notch, and that means I'm stepping up and turning it on. But he better turn it on because Scott Hansen a little bit higher in the center part of the corner than Gary St. Amant, but every bit as quick as he looks to the inside.
3 wins and 3 poles over the years for this man at Toledo, who knows his way around this half mile, no doubt about that.
And the preferred line going down into turn 1, you can see Scott Hansen right there has the advantage in the center part of the corner. Gary St. Amant says it's a long race. Let me ride along and see why this guy's beating me.
Well, he's going to be the leader of record as we come to the end of leader lap number 18. The scoreboard will reflect it in just a moment. There they go, and Scott Hansen now has led 768 laps on this racetrack, building his career total and the best total of any ASA racer that's ever been here.
Well, there's nothing like track knowledge, and he has a tremendous amount of it.
There you see a battle for 4th and 5th. Sauter right there all over Robbie Pyle as they filter through onto the front straightaway. We're working on the leader's lap number 20 as Hansen's now starting to pick up some traffic at the back. He's run up on the back of Chris Bell, a youngster, is in his 5th try in the ASA this year, the first time he's qualified.
Well, you have to remember, they circle this racetrack in little less than 17 seconds, so it does not take long for the back markers to start getting lapped here.
The structural transport Ford on the point. It's Scott Hansen from Green Bay, Wisconsin, 45 years of age, coming off a 6th and a 9th and a 5th the last 3 times out, looking for his first victory of this season. And right now he's right there up among them, leading Gary St. Amant by a couple of car lengths. A couple more further back is Butch Miller, the man who started on pole this afternoon, pole for the 4th time this season. But as he said, he'd trade him for a win. Bob Dillner.
Mike Eddy's Kellogg Chevrolet, pretty torn up in the left front of that car. Mike, you were involved in that first caution, and the bad luck just continues for you in this team.
Well, what can you say? The 83 car got turned around there, and I picked to go to the outside. He let it roll up, and that's the way it goes. We're in the wreck.
Mike was in that wreck, but he got out of the car and took care of some business. He went over to the concession stand and got himself a hamburger.
Still more traffic coming up. Number 40 is the next target. Travis Price just in front of Scott Hansen. We'll watch and see how they deal with that, buddy. But let me give you the rundown of everybody at least affected by that schlamazel in turn 3 and 4. 83 Clanton, 00 Frazier, number 10 Matt Sealski, number 55 Tristan Dupuis, number 06, that's Davin Seitz. Mike Eddy, we just talked to him. Also number 1 Garvey, 87 Elliott, number 22 the youngster Ryan Zeck, who ran so well in Missouri a couple of weeks ago, and 09 J.C. Beatty. And now we go on board with Mike Garvey, who has rejoined the fight.
Yes, he has, and he's back up to full song, as you can see, as they head down into turn 3. He's got a fast race car. I know he did not want to get into that mess at first, but he was lucky. He actually spun out of the traffic and down into the infield, so he didn't have a lot of damage to the car.
Still in the early going. Butch Miller's gone from 1st to 3rd, and you have to wonder about tactics.
Yeah, and Butch Miller said he was going to let him go and save his tires. This surface that they're racing on today is 30 years old, this pavement. So it is a tire getter. So they're trying to run as fast as they can, but they have to save some tires for later.
Mike Garvey, we saw a good look at him there. He's going against number 6. That is Kenny Phillips. Now, earlier this year, Phillips was wearing number 12. He has switched cars, and the adjustment got him well into this field, but it looks like Garvey's going to take the space. That is right now a battle for 16th spot, and Garvey's got it, trying to fight his way back into this race.
Well, one thing he told me, he says, if you have your car that will run right on the bottom, you can see right there almost contact with Kenny Phillips just behind him in the 6th car. He said if I can run the bottom, I can pass a lot of race cars, and he's proving it right now.
The next car up the track, number 38, Johnny Spaw. That is for position. Spaw currently runs in 15th spot. And all of these guys back there, including Garvey, who got collected up in that mess over there a while ago, are on the lead lap. I mean, this is a fight that matters.
On short track, every fight matters. Track position is so very important. Like the leaders right now, as they come up on the slower cars, the flagman will move them out of the way and let them have clear racetrack. So you can see Gardesi right there hugging the bottom. As Scott Hansen works by, he goes the lap down.
So, Scott Hansen continuing to lead and handling the traffic smoothly. He's had 3 or 4 riddles to solve. Going along is Gary St. Amant, and looks like St. Amant, well,
we have
no,
trouble
got the
on
yellow.
The racetrack again.
Yellow has come out. We'll identify the problem as soon as we know about it. I don't see any. Oh, Gadaizi's backward on the front straightaway here. He looped around, but I'm not sure that was why.
You could consider that trouble.
Yes.
This car right here with Jerry Cook driving it, the 07, that race car has a motor in it that has competed the entire last year and half of this year.
Jerry York from Ottawa Lake, Michigan, the Marco's Pizza car. Take a look at it. Just looped it around as he was running right near Ryan Zeck. No contact there. Did he keep it off the wall? Looked like
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
What a great piece of driving.
Yep. Well, we saw there Zeck is back in the field after the early mess. Also the 55. Take another look. Here comes the pace car under the yellow. Well, that's why Gadaizi looped it.
Well,
Don't blame him for that one.
Well, that saved about $65,000 for the track here.
Very close call coming off turn number 4 as the yellow came out. They dispatched the pace car in a near collision. We have Scott Hansen in front, St. Amant in second, then Miller, Taylor, and Stewart. That is the top 5 at the Glass City 300. Stay right there. Glass City 300, we just did resume high-speed action. Hansen, St. Amant, Stewart, Sauter, and Pyle now the top 5.
And that
the yellow.
quick, we're back on the yellow again.
Lap and a half, and the yellow flag comes back out. So we slow him right back down. Earlier, the 07 had gotten out of shape, Jerry Cook, and then the number 29 spun to keep from hitting the pace car. Now we have a new yellow. Number 28, Tim Taylor, who started almost at the front of this field, has been to the pits. Big disappointment for him in the early going. And now Bob Dillner, he's got a fight on his hands.
Well, Chris, he certainly does have a fight. Sandy mentioned earlier that he could be up for hard luck driver. Well, that continues here in Toledo. They brought him down pit road because they're having trouble with power steering. He is going to try to make another stop and get that power steering working, but right now it's not in that 28 car.
Well, that's tough, buddy. I mean, a bigger guy can handle it, but he's not that big.
Yeah, and as we speak, Tim Taylor is headed for the pits again to work on this. Just in front of him, Scott Frazier, another guy that's had nothing but bad luck in the past couple of weeks.
So he went by the pit road that time, and he'll make one more circulation of the track and then on into the pits. You know, speed on the track or in the air, on the water, to racers, it really doesn't matter. To Matt Sealski, it really doesn't matter.
This area here in Lake Norman is a really beautiful area. You know, I'll go ride around for a little bit, and then I'll go park it and go swimming and just float on the water sometimes for an hour and just think about whether it's thinking about the last race or the race coming up or what we have to do in between, or sometimes just thinking about nothing. It's a really good way to relax but get some aggression out at the same time. When we go out on the Sea-Doos, I like to go out and get after it, really get some aggression out, and go out and you know, do a little bit of hot dogging, see if we can go chase some boats around and catch some air. You never learn the limits until you cross them, right? It's a great way to be able to focus on what you need to do, and then just at the snap of a finger, you're away from it all.
And currently, Matt Sealski under the yellow, running in 9th position. Bob Dillner, you have something.
Butch Miller just pulled off of the Meyer Chevrolet. They brought him down pit road because that motor was idling very, very high and was making some funny sounds. So crew chief Chip Caputo has been talking to the GM folks and the ASA officials. They brought him down there and they are trying to figure out exactly what is going on with that number 52 car right now because they don't exactly know. They're going to bring him down pit road once again and try to fix that problem. But big problems for the Meyer Chevrolet.
He is out there right now, but due back in the pits in a moment. That would be a real huge disappointment and setback for his championship hopes this year, although one off day wouldn't knock him out of the lead, I don't think. But
boy, I tell you what, though, it's a heart stopper for this guy because he has competed and actually run every lap that they've run in ASA this year. I know he wants to keep that going.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive record, and when you're halfway through a racing season. Gary St. Amant led that category last year. He only missed a half a dozen or so laps, but almost went the whole season without missing anything, which is an almost impossible task. Bob?
I'm down in the Meyer pits right now, and they figured since they brought Butch onto pit road, they might as well change right side tires because tire management so crucial here because this track is a very abrasive surface. They plan to pit anywhere from 3 to 5 times today. Now, do they have the problem fixed? They're not sure. They're going to go back out there and see what happens to the car once they go green.
Meantime, we continue to circulate around under the yellow flag as we have Hansen on the point, then St. Amant, Stewart, Frazier, and Mike Miller was moving up there into the top 10 a couple of moments ago. Butch Miller is now being shuffled backward as he deals with his difficulty in the engine compartment. He's certainly capable of climbing back through the field, but he's going to have a lot of track to make up. Sandy? Got something on our leader.
Well, I've been talking to some of the members of Scott Hansen's crew, and he did radio back during this caution saying he's extremely happy with the car. It is a little bit loose, but it feels just right. And just before the race, a lot of the drivers were trying to psych out Scott, knowing how quick he is here, reminding him of a few years back when his car actually went airborne going out of turn 1, and they kept telling Scott, did you get a pilot's license to come back here at Toledo? It doesn't seem to have bothered him because he's running right up front.
He is indeed. And to give you the litany again, 3 poles, 3 wins, 4 podiums, most laps led. He's adding to that right now. He has the lap record for qualifying, won the most money of any ASA driver here, and he has the race record at 400 miles. It won't be there, 400 laps. It won't be that long here today, but that's a nice record to have. When I went through that with him yesterday, he said, did I do all that? As we get the green flag, he might even do more, buddy.
And you didn't even let him talk in the interview. You just made it point at himself.
Here we go again. Restart on lap number 46 as Scott Hansen leads the charge. Gary St. Amant coming along. And then number 33, Mr. Stewart. Greg Stewart, good run so far for him.
And let's update the 9 car. Look at him right now trying to move into 4th spot there. He's all over Stewart, pardon me. 3rd spot he's trying to move into. I told you where he starts, he's absolutely nothing. Big wreck again.
And number 40, the Travis Price car, and Scott Frazier. And the 29, Francesco Gaudesi, and also number 24, Chris Bell is involved, and the 07, Jerry Cook. All of these folks running well back in the field, but some pretty heavy contact there, buddy. That's obvious.
Yeah, Bell's car completely wiped out on the nose, and you can see right there the 07 of Jerry Cook, the entire front end sheared right off. See Price trying to get by there. A lot of damage to the front of his car, the white car there, the number 40.
So this could be a relatively long cleanup. The pace car has gathered up the race leader, Scott Hansen, and the people up front, Gary St. Amant. The top 5 did not change in that quick burst of speed. Let's take a look at it.
See Gaudesi on the inside there. He's right on the bottom. Oh, it happened in front of him there. You can see Cook up against the outside wall and chain reaction back there. Other people getting involved that really had nothing to do with the wreck at all.
And here we see it one more time. Davin Seitz there, you see without a hood, he's not involved directly. There's the tail end of the contact. The 07, Jerry Cook, hard against the wall. Then it was Travis Price coming along, Scott Frazier, and collected because he had nowhere to go. Chris Bell, he nudged his way in there just at the end. That is Cook there. He got out of the car just a moment ago. Johnny Sauter, number 9. Under yellow, running in the 4th position. Great run for him. He started in 10th. Man behind the man who has helped make it all happen. 4 wins in the last 5 races. Sandy checked in with him.
Johnny Sauter has put together the most successful team this season so far with 4 victories, 2 pole positions, 737 laps led. And a lot of it has to do with his team and the small details. The crew chief, Joe Shear Jr., uses this Allen wrench like a surgeon does a scalpel. What's the secret to your team?
We got good chemistry, good people working for us, a great driver, and we use that little Allen wrench to make little adjustments on shocks, and it's just that fine tuning that makes successful teams.
And you're not afraid to try new things?
Not at all. When we unload and we try to unload really good, we just fine tune these things for long setups.
And don't forget, folks, another Sauter run here last year. Tim Sauter took the checkered flag. How's that for a legacy?
That's for a pretty good legacy, buddy. You gave us the litany on the Sauter family a little while ago. they're used to winning, and this guy is really adding to their overall credentials.
Yeah, and I understand Tim Sauter may be out here today to watch his younger brother run.
He was supposed to be here. We assume he did arrive, and Johnny told me yesterday he's trying to talk him into coming on into the ASA one more time, run 2 blue cars out there as a match set, see what they can do with that.
Can you imagine 2 of these cars? Wow.
Got to give a lot of credit to Alex Pincinel, too, the owner of that team, because he brought them to the table with a very, very good race car. Bob?
Well, the Jolly Rancher bunch have brought the number 52 for Butch Miller down pit road. They think they have the engine misfire figured out. It was in the electronic system. They have gone to work, have figured out that problem. So they figured, let's see, we're at the back of the pack anyway. Tires very, very important here. So, buddy, why not come in and change left side tires as well?
Exactly right. He's at the back of the pack. Might as well have the freshest stuff you can have and throw it, you know, and you might just go on a real long run and that be decisive.
Now, once this thing settles down and they get a run started, that could be a big payoff against those that are out there with used tires. We have gone 52 laps of 300 in this event. They're still cleaning it up. Hansen is still the leader with St. Amant in the 2nd spot, then Stewart. We'll be back to the Glass Cities 300. It's wild, unpredictable, and downright raw. Experience the excitement of cable television's top-rated show. WWF Raw is War, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN. Working leader lap number 57. We are still operating under the yellow because of a multiple car crash just a couple of moments ago. There you see Tom Powell indicating to the runners that there is 1 lap to go, and he will flag them green again. The pace car is off. Buddy Baker, 22nd position. It's Butch Miller, Hansen on the point. 2 veterans separated by a lot of cars, but both could be together again before this day is done.
I feel they will be, and one thing that Butch Miller has to do right now is be very patient and not do anything strange back there, because there'll still be some more caution. This is a very unfriendly car racetrack.
Saw a glimpse of number 6 there, Kenny Phillips, back in the fold in a different car. He has some pretty impressive credentials around this racetrack, as does the man on the point. 4,000 laps in late models that he has led here and completed over the years. Got 8 late model wins on this racetrack. Right now in a fight with Tristan Dupuis and several others. J.C. Beatty on the outside of him right there. Battle for position relatively well back in the field.
J.C. Beatty there in the 09 caught on the outside. You can see the 6 car there, Phillips on the inside. And this is a good example. You don't always have to just stay with the leaders, although it's not a bad idea as we have Sauter move into 3. But back in the back here, we have great racing going on.
As they battle for 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, those positions back there. On the point still is Hansen as we work on leader lap number 61, followed by the Wynn Chevrolet of Gary St. Amant, and now Sauter is in the 3rd spot. He's slid by number 33, Stewart, just a little while ago, and Tristan Dupuis fighting with J.C. Beatty, picking up a spot there.
And look at Johnny Sauter move right on the back bumper there. Gary St. Amant in the 3rd spot. That blue car is on the move.
As he always is lately, down below the white line. Some have told us that if you get the left side under that line, you're a goner, but we've seen a lot of guys run down there this weekend.
They're running a very soft package. Look at this. I mean, inches apart. Here he comes trying to take over the 2nd spot, but Gary St. Amant says, hey, I got a left-hand turn here too.
Is that called slamming the door or what? As he come down across his bow, Sauter checked up just enough. Now he'll gather it back up, and it won't take him long. Contact! He just pushed him out of the way and took 2nd place. Johnny Sauter putting on the muscle.
Well, he better put the muscle on. Gary St. Amant, one of the greatest short track drivers of all time. And I'm sure he says, hey, Johnny, you better not make a habit of that.
See the lap count continuing to grow. We're on leader lap 65. We watch the leader, so does Sauter, and he's closing on him. He wants to go to P1 as fast as he can.
Well, right at the moment, he's like 2/100ths of a second every lap on these guys. Johnny Sauter is the quickest car on the speedway.
Hansen, Sauter, St. Amant, Stewart, and Powell. There is Scott Hansen, number 5. The structural transport Ford having a very fine day in what is now a sunshiny day. This morning there was some concern about moisture around the racetrack. It was cloudy and a little bit dark, but boy, it's cleared off nice.
Talk about a mirror full. Look, and right now, I guarantee you Scott Hansen's going, hey, I'm running hard, and this guy is just eating me alive.
Kevin Sawinski there trying to hold on to some positions as he fights for 5th place. Right behind him, Robbie Pyle, and then Mike Cope as we go on board with Kevin Sawinski looking up the track, and Greg Stewart in the 33. He's got a ways to go to get to him. Look back, there's Robbie Pyle, the Citgo car right behind and on him.
And right behind them, Mike Cope out of Florida. You can see the blue and white car there. Great racing all the way back.
Johnny Sauter, he's high on the groove as they move into the corner. Yeah, I don't know. Is he going to go around the outside?
The hero move on the outside there. He's looking to the outside. Scott Hansen, I don't know if he can hold this kid back. He's up there looking, knocking on the door. Scott Hansen said, you're going to have to earn it.
Well, he punched St. Amant out of the way. I don't think these two guys have rubbed just yet.
This is hero material right here. Taking the lead, working for the lead right now. The 9 car, Johnny Sauter, side by side with the winningest driver ever here in ASA, Scott Hansen.
Joining in the fight. It's a 3-way battle for the lead now. Gary St. Amant is right there, the number 7 machine. And Sauter, there's a little slide by Scott Hansen.
Using a lot of racetrack there coming out of the corner, almost rubbing as they move into lap traffic. Sauter gets caught high.
And here comes Johnny Sauter down low as he has to protect his position against St. Amant. Now they clear some traffic, so they're going to have to gather it back up before they are able to rejoin the fight. But it won't take too long. Sauter will be all over him once again. Joe Shearer Jr., new chief for Johnny Sauter, looking on there, talking to his favorite driver. And now here they go again, side by side.
I'm going to tell you something. That's pure muscle right there, because it's supposed to be almost 3/10 of a second slower on the second groove around this racetrack. And right now he takes the lead away from Scott Hansen.
Has he got it done? Yeah, he's got it done now. He still had a fender to get by, but he pulled away. Look at him go.
Listen, if I tell you a chicken pull a plow, stand back, watch the dirt fly.
Onto the straightaway we go, and it is Johnny Sauter on the lead, taking it away from Scott Hansen on no uncertain terms, and now he's going to drive away, it looks like.
Well, what this does is Sauter's moving away, but look at the fight for second right now. Gary St. Amant looking on the inside, trying to take it from Scott Hansen, and you all see Greg Stewart moving in the 33 car, and just behind him, guess who?
Kevin Sawinski moving in there, and Pyle's coming along. Here comes Sawinski looking down to the inside of Stewart, who's looking at the back of Scott Hansen.
And Sawinski started in 17th spot, so he has made great headway.
Let's go to Bob Dillner.
We're down here with Joe Shearer Jr. and Johnny's crew chief, and Joe, he looked like he wanted that lead a bit aggressive.
Yeah, this AP Performance Chevrolet is pretty good here, and he wants to lead a lot of laps, so he's not really being too aggressive, but he's what do I say? He's going to the front.
He's definitely going to the front, guys. I was down at the shop this week, and Johnny said, listen, I've won once, twice, 3, 4 times now. He does not want to finish second. All he's thinking about is that win, and he said he will be really disappointed if he doesn't get it here.
He moves around the 24 car, the disabled car of Chris Bell, and picking up a little bit more traffic as he goes along.
Wanting to lead more laps. He's led 737 laps this year, Johnny Sauter has in that 9 car. And not counting what he's done today.
Right, I was about to say he's over 740 now. Back on board with Kevin Sawinski we go as we look back at the car of Greg Stewart. They have gotten by the 33 as they move by the 24. That's Chris Bell down low. Now forward we look from Kevin Sawinski. His next target is Scott Hansen, who dropped back to 3rd pretty quickly, then got the car back under him.
Taking a look at him, you'd think a race car driver just sits there and rides. Watch the eyes on this guy as he looks his competitors over, then he'll look back in the mirror, back into there. Down in the corner he goes. You can see him really fighting this car as he goes down in the corner.
Boy, that clear shield really gives us a good look at the driver's face. A lot of times in that POV shot, we don't really get to see the driver. That's a nice picture. There he is, Scott Hansen, just ahead of Kevin Sawinski, who's looking for his 2nd victory of this campaign. He said this is the kind of place he was going to have that would lend itself to him getting his second victory, and he's driving like a winner right now.
Let me tell you, this is a driver's racetrack, and every one of the real seasoned veterans love it. And Johnny Sauter loves this racetrack because really, if you have a driving style, if you're real aggressive, this is your type of racetrack.
There's Sawinski right up to Hansen. We'll watch that as we check in with Sandy Hank.
Well, Buddy, you were exactly right when you said that Hansen is fighting that race car. Earlier, we told you that his crew chief said the car was a little bit loose, but he was extremely happy with it. Well, that loose condition has gotten worse, and he's having more of a difficult time holding his line right now. They hope to make an adjustment when he does come in for a pit stop.
Well, we saw the lead change there, Buddy. He just went up the track, and Sawinski went underneath.
Well, let's talk about loose a little bit. That means the back tires are not getting the grip you need, and as you start off the corner, the back of the car slides out towards the outside wall, very uncomfortable, and you can't keep the intensity from the center of the corner of the straightaway that you need.
Johnny Sauter clearing traffic and pulling away, building on his lead against Gary St. Amant. Sawinski has moved up to third, then Scott Hansen, the one-time race leader, and then Greg Stewart. We'll be back. There's a celebration around Toledo this summer. It's called Raining Frogs. This sculpture at the museum, the Toledo Museum of Art, large leaping hare. It's all part of a fundraiser here this summer in what is normally known the Glass City. There is our leader, Johnny Sauter, who has been in front for about 20 laps now as he continues to circulate. Gary St. Amant a fair bit back in second place, then Kevin Sawinski, then Scott Hansen, then Greg Stewart. So the top 5 remain stable since we left you.
Yes, and Johnny Sauter just put a lap on the 17th place car there, Johnny Spa.
And we have a good fight for 5th and 6th. We have Stewart, the 33 there. Garvey, who spun or got involved in a wreck earlier on and went to the back, is now back in the fight as he goes to 6th position, passing Robbie Pyle just a moment ago. And he's going after Stewart, but he's going to have to wait for that. We get the caution once again here at the Toledo Speedway, with Johnny Sauter on the point. Garvey about to draw a bead on Stewart, and the 100th lap of 300 having just been concluded.
Look at the spotters here. Boy, are they busy today. As tight as this racetrack is, these guys right here earned their money, believe you me.
Well, after several rounds of early trouble, we got a good long stint of green there, Buddy, and they spread them around. There was a lot of traffic for the contenders to deal with, and now they're starting to lay out for some pit stops as we hit 1/3 distance in this event.
And now with Johnny Sauter's crew standing there, the 9 crew, they're looking for him to come in.
So we'll watch this round of pit stops as it unfolds. Very, very tight pit road here. 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's going to be tight and dicey in there.
Next lap around, the pace car just picked up our leader, Johnny Sauter, there in the blue car. And as he comes back around, you can see his crew ready.
There you can see, Buddy, the entrance to pit road, and it's a little bit downhill and then a left-hander.
I got to tell you, I got a bigger opening than that going into my carport.
Yeah, and they're all aware of it, and they did slow down the speed limit to 20 miles an hour. But the other problem in there is it's not very wide. The crewmen over the wall are going to be really pressed to stay close to the car.
Let me just explain. This is the size of the car, right about like that. And you can see the pit road itself is not any wider than that. So when you jack up the right side, you've just about used up all the space down there.
Here they come. Sauter first, then St. Amant. There's Sawinski, Scott Hansen. All the contenders are going in, and you can see the reduced rate of speed as they look for their crew and their individual pit stalls. Very important moment in this race. There's a look at Kevin Sawinski.
All the cars on the lead lap in the pits now.
Sandy Hank.
Sawinski is taking on 2 right side tires. They also gave it 2 rounds, and he is down and away, but there will be a traffic jam towards the end where Bob Dillner is.
Well, we're down here at Johnny Sauter's pits. The crew of the AP Plasman car went to work, changed 2 right side BF Goodrich tires. They beat Kevin Sawinski off of pit road.
Second to come out of his stall will be St. Amant. Sawinski also on the move. Butch Miller just arrived at his pit. He's in the last pit at pit road. There you see the stop sign held up by Fred Mellum. Actually, right now it is a go sign as everything looks clean and green in the pits with yellow on the track. And I think they came out with Sauter, St. Amant, and Sawinski in that order, and we'll pick them off as they come back out. There we have number 16, Russ Tuttle, who should be in a moment. Russ Tuttle just coming in for his pit stop. The He is from the Chief of Detectives of Marion City, Indiana. Who's his crew chief? Well, he's a fellow that has been in ASA racing already this year. As you see his car up in the air, let's check with his team.
The number 16 Conseco Pontiac has been finding some speed mid-season. 2 top 10 qualifying efforts and now a top 10 finish. And Russ Tuttle there with his son Bryce says a lot of the credit goes to his new crew chief, Glenn Allen Jr., who's used to driving ASA and Busch, and now you're hooking up cars.
Well, it's something for me to keep in the business, and it's fun for me. Russ done a great job the last 3 races. Things seem to come together. Bob at the shop's done a great job getting the cars prepared, so we're excited. We think we're going to have a great half of the year left in the Conseco Pontiac, so we're excited.
Well, and Russ says since bringing Glenn Allen on board, he's been going faster, but his wallet's been getting thinner.
So Russ Tuttle has gotten his pit service, and he's gone back out onto the course. Currently running in the second 10 in 17th position in this event. We're at leader lap 105 so far of the scheduled 300. 41-year-old native in Indianapolis. As you see, the pace car has them all gathered up, and we check the standings. Of course, it changes around on the scoreboard, but if we look at the people out there in terms of those that came out of the pits, we had Johnny Sauter coming out and maintaining his lead once all the pit stops that will be needed are done.
Why, look at Sykes' car there. The complete front end missing on that race car. They're trying to get it ready to go back out again, though.
So we wait for all the cleanup. Well, he's got a leak.
A little warm there.
Yeah. So Davin Seitz is having a big fight to stay on the race course. Meantime, up front, we have Malik, number 14. A sometime visitor to ASA, Doug Malik from Green Bay, Wisconsin, listed as the leader. He stayed out and did not make a pit stop, so he takes the green first. Johnny Sauter is tucked in just behind. Also, lap traffic is there as Tristan Dupuis is out on the course. So it is those two in front of Johnny Sauter, and Sauter is not the race leader yet. 24 has spun again. Chris Bell also involved. I think the 87 of David Elliott. And the 83, is that Joey Clanton?
Joey Clanton again. Oh, tremendous amount of damage to the front there. He came into this race only 50 points out of the lead in the point standings. Now he has big trouble.
Yeah, he had a turn of events that went against him in the early going of the event, and now it looks like this could be terminal. We're going to get a look at it and see exactly what did unfold. He had been stuck back, and you see he gets pinched down there. Car turns in front of him. Here he comes, boom. Clanton came up to it and ran into the 24 car of Chris Bell. Pit crew looks like they're about to pack it up. Their day has just gone sour completely as he's gotten to the infield and parked it.
When the driver hangs the helmet up inside the car like that, that's normally a bad sign that that car is pretty much done for the day.
So we work leader lap 110 under the yellow. Let's take a look at what happened up to the 100 lap level. We had Hansen on the point through the first 50 or so. Then in the second 50 laps, we had a restart. Johnny Sauter on the move. Watch this as he takes Gary St. Amant right up to the wall, nudges him out of the way. No, he banged him out of the way and took over second position. Then he drew a bead on Scott Hansen. Several laps of this. He had the high side, side by side, and finally was able to muscle his way around the tough way and get into the first position in this race. And that's where he will be once again in a few moments once all of the pit stops are cleared away and that rotation is concluded. Right now, these are the current standings of everyone who is on the race course at the Glass City 300 after 110 of the 300 laps. You see there in the background the disabled car of number 83, Joey Clanton. A very disappointing visit to the Toledo Speedway for that young man. You see Russ Tuttle in 17th, Big John Silverthorne in the top 20, J.C. Beatty Jr. leading the next group at 21st position, Davin Seitz 26th, then Tim Taylor. He started near the front of the field and then went backward in a hurry. He's kind of had a tough day. Francesco Gadesi, Scott Frazier, Jerry Cook, all of these people have been caught up in something or other. Mike Eddy, the first one out, will finish 13th. He has retired from the event. So we have Malik on the point with Sauter second. We're still under yellow at the Toledo Speedway. It's the Glass City 300. Stay there. Welcome back to Toledo Speedway, still operating under caution. And we have Doug Malik, the leader of record in the number 14 car, the native of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Second place belongs to Sauter, who has had his first pit stop in the event. Malik will be passed or have to make a pit stop before too long after we get to the green. His car is not up to the standard of Johnny Sauter, but Buddy Baker, what the heck? He's the leader of record, and that matters to some folks.
Absolutely, and he comes from a very different type of family. I will tell you that, Malik did. His brother was on the Rose Bowl team that won in 1999, was voted by his teammates as the defensive player of the game. The whole team, and also Malik's father, a great driver in racing up in Wisconsin.
As you hear Butch Miller's team talking to him, the good look there at number 38, Johnny Spall, who runs currently in the 20th position. You know, changes in mascots, new car and a dog. Sandy discovered that applies to this team.
The dog days of summer are here, and one of Johnny Spall's credentialed team members is even sweating it out. Johnny, you've had a lot of bad luck. Now you've finally come back with a different car. What are you going to do to change the tide this season?
Well, you know, we just got to let the races play out and see how things go. And the things that have happened to me, I can't really do much about it, and that's racing. But we got the old car out, haven't had it out since California, and maybe that'll change our luck. And the attitude of this dog, he sounds like he wants to go out there and race right now, so I need an attitude like this dog has.
Ready to take a bite out of some of the competitors.
Well, maybe Johnny's going to take a bite out of a few folks in front of him. We are back to green flag racing, and now you see the team coming up on the 6 car. That's Kenny Phillips off Power, but at the front it's still Sauter trying to run down Doug Malik.
Malik in the lead in the 14, that red car there. Just behind him, you can see Dupuis right there in second. And on the outside there, the 9 car, Johnny Sauter doing everything, waiting on the air pressure to come back up. You can see now he's getting that. Oh boy, is that a familiar sight? Him going on the outside, passing the car.
Gary St. Amant also coming along. He runs third in the event at the moment, going by Tristan Dupuis, who won yesterday's qualifying race here. But he's with a new team, and he hasn't raced all that much this year. And he's backing up a little bit now. St. Amant has gone by him and draws a bead now on Doug Malik. Meantime, the race lead again belongs to Johnny Spall.
And Kevin Sawinski in the 21 car there. You're looking back at him coming off turn 4, down the front straightaway, diving right to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get position on Gary St. Amant.
Johnny Sauter is the race leader, not Johnny Spall. We're looking back from the 4th place car of Kevin Sawinski right there. And look at the way Sauter has pulled away from Gary St. Amant. I mean, he's just got the fastest race car out there, no question about it.
Well, clean air too right now. He does not have to deal with any traffic whatsoever. He's just got racetrack in front of him. As he dives down into turn 3 there, the car is just by itself out there, and he's using that race car to its advantage.
Malik now under attack from Scott Hansen, who is 5th in the event as he gets by. Robbie Pyle closing on the back of the number 14 machine. All the leaders are clearing the traffic, and Bob Dillner is in the pits.
Well, Gary St. Amant just radioed to crew chief Bill McGowan, said this Wynn Chevrolet is as good as it's going to get. Crew chief Bill McGowan, why can't you guys catch that number 9 car?
I don't know. Garrett says the car's pretty good right now, and you couldn't think of anything to make it better without changing some hard parts. Yeah, the 9 car looks real good in the middle of the corner, and I don't know, we're going to need a little help from the racing gods to get this.
Oh, racing gods and Mother Nature, all sorts of things today in Toledo. Bill said they are going to go back to their shop and go to work on this car to try to catch that number 9 machine.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, he has closed in just a little bit on Johnny Sauter. Not quite the big gap that was there, and the yellow flag is out on the racetrack again. We have trouble in turn 3.
Over in turn number 3, the 35 machine of Ricky Bryant was sideways as we glanced off in that direction. I think also involved up there was the 40 car of Travis Price. We'll stand corrected in a moment on that if it's necessary, but I'm sure that Ricky Bryant got sideways and down into the dirt, and that pulled out the yellow flag. And also the number 16 may have been involved. Russ Tuttle, his position on the track would lend us to think that that might have been the case. So once again, quickly back to the yellow, but not before Johnny Sauter was able to clear what traffic was in front of him and get back to the control of this race that he has had since lap number 76.
And the one great part of that, just behind Gary St. Amant, the 21 car, Kevin Sawinski starting in 17th spot, and Mike Garvey all the way back up to 4th now. He started in the rear of the field after spinning in an incident that happened on the first lap.
Looked like Kevin Sawinski just got a little bit of a drink there. Sandy Hang, you're in his pit.
Well, I'm with Mike Jaffe right now. Looks like Johnny was pulling away from both St. Amant and you.
He sure is. The Texas Roadhouse car is almost perfect. We really haven't changed anything. Real happy with the car, and the sad part is Johnny just drives around everyone on the outside. So it's real frustrating, and in fact, if there's any Winston Cup owners or crew chiefs out there, you really need to give this kid a call. The sooner the better. In fact, if I had his cell phone number, I'd give it out right now.
Well, let's talk about Kevin's car. He looked like the right rear. Were you getting a little loose and looked like you made an adjustment?
Yeah, we tightened the car up in the center just a little bit, and we're going to wait to take lefts now until the car does something so we can make another adjustment.
Okay, that's Mike Jaffe. Obviously, if he had that cell phone number, he'd certainly give it out for Johnny Sauter.
Couple of top 10 runners peeled off and went into the pits. Butch Miller had fought his way back to the top 10, and he's gone into the pits. Also, Mike Garvey has gone in for some additional service.
Yeah, and that surprised me because he had worked his way all the way back to 4th spot, but I would imagine right now he's thinking tires for later.
Let's check the standings as they complete another lap under the yellow. We have Sauter, St. Amant, Sawinski, Henson, Pyle in 5th spot now, then Malik in 6th, Stewart, Rosbrook, Zek, and Cope. That is the top 10. The others we mentioned had dropped out of the top 10 because they went to the pits, but that if they improve their car, they'll be back in the top 10 before too long. 05 also in the pits, Chris Wimmer, the youngster from Wausau, Wisconsin, in the Sierra Racing Products Chevrolet, head on his way back out.
And with just enough sheet metal to make it back around.
Well, you know, he came into this event 10th in points and certainly on a very steep learning curve. It's tough, but here's Bob to explain.
Check this out. GM Vortec backing a complete experimental car here in ASA competition with stuff you're going to see on GM cars in years to come. But you know what's really cool? It's being crewed by a bunch of Michigan State engineering students, and the guy that's behind the wheel, Brendan Fagan, well, you are a virtual student at Michigan State. What's that all about?
Well, it's an opportunity for somebody like me that lives 400 miles away from Michigan State to go to school on the internet and go towards getting college credits for the degree. So it's an excellent opportunity for me to live in Evansville, Indiana, and be able to work for a degree from Michigan State University.
Incredible technology, guys, and this, let's call it a rolling laboratory.
Rolling lab. Only run as an exhibition car, as a research car, 50 laps at a time.
Yes, and this very motor will be used in 2008. So they're working on this to make their cars better for that year.
So they give that car some attention. They also download research information from the machine. And on the track, the rest of them run around under the yellow. We'll be back to Toledo Speedway in just a moment. We're back at speed at the Glass City 300. There you see the battle for second position. Gary St. Amant trying to hold off Kevin Sawinski. It is one of the best fights on the course. We go on board with Kevin Sawinski, who wants second place real bad, buddy.
Sawinski down to the white line, going into turn 3. You can see Gary St. Amant looking at lap traffic as they come off turn 4 and down the front straightaway, down into 1. Sawinski almost in the dirt as he picks the throttle up.
That blue dot in the distance, as you may have suspected, is Johnny Sauter, who leads this thing by several car lengths, certainly. And separation to second place is huge as Sauter once again is driving away. Then the fight for second, third, that's Sawinski. Then we have Pyle in the 4th spot. They're all involved in the fight for second. Scott Hansen's there as well.
Well, Robbie Pyle, you're looking back at him. He's really moving towards the front. He may have a car that could contest for the lead if he can ever get track position, because he has been on a steady move since the start of the race.
One of those Buckeye bullets we talked about in the Citgo Chevrolet, and he is certainly in the fight. He is a contender. Let's go to Sandy Hang.
Well, right now I am with Brian Schwartz, and I know you guys have been moving forward. What's he saying about the car?
The car's real good right now. He was complaining it was a little tight at the beginning of the run, and the track's just starting to come to us a little bit, and he's driving a heck of a race out there.
Okay, that's Brian Schwartz, his car chief, and one other thing, they got penalized by ASA for bumping into the 18, so Robbie has actually made up some time for a penalty. Not bad.
Not bad at all, as he runs a good solid fourth right now at the point. Sauter's dealing with some traffic. These guys dealing with each other. Scott Hansen, who drifted back a little bit after leading early, looks like he wants a piece of pile.
Yeah, and he was complaining of the car being very loose. It does not look loose right now. As he looks to pile as they come off turn 2, looks at Scott Hansen will take that spot away as they dive into turn 3.
Well, he's got all that tracking. No, is he going to make it stick? Russ Tuttle has looped it. He's been in the dirt, that's for sure. Coming off turn 4 and goes directly into the pits, and that draws another yellow from the flagman, Tom Powell, at the center of the front straightaway. So they slow him down one more time. Quick recap of our standings as they are. Sauter, St. Amant, Sawinski, Pyle, Hansen, the top 5, and that will remain the same. Then Stewart, Cope, Rosebrook, Zeck, and Phillips. That's where we are. We'll be back. It's raining frogs in Toledo, all over town. Lady Frog, downtown in front of one of the beautiful buildings along the Maumee River. Out here at the Toledo Speedway, a little northwest of the city, we have the ASA AC-Delco Series Glass City 300 underway, and it is just past half distance, an official race, if you will. But you look at the sky and you know we're going to go the 300 laps. We're working leader lap under yellow of 154. That's just been concluded as they move down the front straightaway. The 05 machine has had his share of trouble today. 10th in points on a steep learning curve. Here's Bobby.
One of the guys having a good but very quiet rookie season is Chris Wimmer in the unsponsored 05. He has 3 ninth place finishes. His brother Scott was a rookie here last year, won 2 races. This is their dad. He serves as crew chief for both drivers. So which son is the better driver?
Well, I think they're both good drivers. I wouldn't say either one of them is any better, but Chris does not have a lot of experience in this type of racing. He came from the short tracks of Wisconsin. I think he's doing a tremendous job for the background that he has.
You want to talk about brotherly love? Scott Wimmer won his uncle's memorial race, Larry Degens, in Wausau, Wisconsin this week, and his brother Chris finished second.
Back to green flag racing, and at the point we have Johnny Sauter, then Gary St. Amant. Third now belongs to Scott Hansen because Kevin Sawinski has gone to the pits. He currently runs in 12th position. Fourth is Mike Cope. Then 47, the number 47 machine of Todd Rosebrook is in. There's Johnny Sauter moving around. Buddy Baker, we have some changes in the top 10 during that yellow.
Well, Mike Cope's one of the guys that we're talking about in the blue car. He's all the way up to 4th spot right now. And just behind him, the 47, we have so many, but Ryan Zeck in the 22. He led some of the race at I-70. You see him there in the blue and white car, the Herzog car, doing a great job, the 22 there. And he is an engineer on the Robert Yates race team there for Dale Jarrett, and they said you didn't have the weekend go racing at I-70. He did such a great job. They gave him this weekend off and said go at it again. Great driver. He
runs in the 6th position. Mike Miller, number 18, is in 7th, and Malik, we saw him on the point a while ago. He's been able to sustain a top 10 position in the 14 car, but now he is up into the wall and has brought out yet another yellow. He was running 8th place as he got out of shape and found his way to the concrete, with Butch Miller just behind him in 9th.
Malik got a lot of damage on the back part of that race car. He backed it right into the wall. You can see just behind the rear tire there, ripped completely off the tail section of the car. Where the spoiler and all is, I'd say he's pretty much done for a while.
So he limps slowly down the track after a reasonable run in the middle part of this race in the top 10. 9th place goes now to Ricky Bryant, who was out of shape a little while ago. Robbie Pyle in 10th spot as we go back to yellow. Sawinski in 11th. Then Phillips in the 6th car, then Mike Garvey 13th. Greg Stewart, who was in the top 5 for most of the race, is back to 14th. Matt Sealski in the 10, listed in 15th position at the moment as we slow them down one more time. So pit stops in the yellow just a little while ago, shuffled some of it, and then this incident with the number 14 of Doug Malik shuffles it at least just a little bit more.
In defense for Malik, he got a little assistance there. I noticed the yellow car give him a pretty good shot there, getting in the middle part of the corner.
So we have yellow once again. It's been a significant player in this event so far today. Bob Dillner?
Well, Mike Garvey in the Tecumseh Chevrolet has run in the top 5 for a good portion of this race, but crew chief Bonsas, you've pitted twice during the past couple of cautions. Why?
Well, the car isn't too great. We had a decent starting spot, 7th here today, but got turned around in that early incident in 3 and 4. Had to go to the back there. Made our way through the field. The car was pretty good, but as we've run the race here, it's gotten a little bit to the tight side. We elected to pit, and we figured let's just throw a couple stops at it here and try fixing the car. We think we have it pretty decent now. Probably can go the rest of the way on fuel. Maybe we can catch these guys out of sync a little bit and inherit some track position, but Mike's just got to do the good job he's done all day, keeping his nose clean and being patient in traffic.
How about that, buddy? Mike Garvey possibly thinking about going the rest of the way on the tires and fuel when a guy like Johnny Sauter still has to pit.
Well, I don't know about that. This racetrack is very abrasive, and tire management's important. Mike Garvey, not known for waiting around much. He likes to lead as much as he possibly can. That's him right there in the number 1 car circling around. Let me tell you, if anybody will need tires near the end of the race, it will be Mike Garvey.
He runs in 13th position at the moment, compliments of those stops. We're working leader lap 165. What happened between 100 and 150? Well, we did have a lead change. They were restarting on lap 118. It was Johnny Sauter on the point, but when they pitted under caution, Doug Malik did go to the point. That put Johnny Sauter in 2nd. He had to fight his way back, and it was a pretty good fight put up by Doug Malik before the number 9 stormed around him and reassumed the lead, which he still has. And Johnny Sauter, of course, approaching the point where he might pick up some bonuses for leading the most laps in the event. There you see the standings. Sauter, St. Amand, Hansen with Mike Cope up into the 4th position. Rosebrook in 5th. Then Zach, the engineer we talked about a moment ago. Mike Miller and Butch Miller in the top 10. Ricky Bryant, a recovery for him because he spun earlier on. And Robbie Pyle, who's been higher than that in this event. Then Kevin Sawinski. We saw him in 3rd just a little while ago, but he moved back during a pit stop, trying to fight his way back, but he needs a green flag segment to get there. Then Garvey, Stewart, Sealski, David Elliott in the 16th spot as they continue to circulate under the yellow. And when we look at the rest of the runners and riders, Buddy Baker, I wonder about anybody's driving rhythm in this. We had one section of the race that was under green for an extended period, but mostly it's been quick yellow after quick yellow after quick yellow.
Well, the 2 cars that really impressed me was, of course, Sawinski and Garvey, because they worked their way up through the field. Garvey coming from dead last all the way back up to 4th, so I wouldn't count those guys out on long runs if we ever get one.
Field moving on to the front straightaway in the pit, Sandy Hang.
Well, take a look at this picture. This is what a lot of the teams are talking about down here on pit road. It is a little piece of patch that appears to be coming up, and according to the drivers talking to their crew chiefs, a little bit more and a little bit more coming up as more laps are being run on this, and they're purposely trying to avoid this. So watch this unfold a little bit later in the race.
I don't know about a patch, buddy. That looks to me like an all-time, big-time Northern Midwest pothole right there. That could cut a tire or something.
This little deal right there, let me tell you, the patch is here. It's just past the patch. So that's old racetrack tearing up.
Yeah, well, they got extra tires on hand over there, and for good reason. It's an abrasive racetrack, and with a hole like that, you got to be really careful. There you see the green car of Russ Tuttle peeling off into the pits one more time. The rest of them stay out. Bob Dillner, he's still in the pits.
I am in the pits, Chris, and so is the AP Plasman group for Johnny Sauter. They still have to change more BF Goodrich tires, and they are very, very confident. Let me show you something. Check this out. This is the practice wheel for their pit stops. They put number 1s on there for 1 victory, 2 victories, 3 victories, 4 victories. They want number 5 today, and they think they can get it.
And they already numbered it. That's confidence.
You got to believe in yourself before anybody else will.
Well, here we go again. Johnny Sauter leads the charge into turn 1. Gary St. Amand coming along. Then 3rd place, Hansen right there. The white and red car, and Sauter pulls away quickly.
And the one car I want to give a call to is Johnny Sauter. I mean, he's opened up the lead so many times that we're not surprised in just one lap. He's 4 or 5 car lengths already out in front. But behind him, Mike Cope, who really has had a dreadful weekend as far as the speeds around the racetrack, all the way up to 4th. That's he in the blue and white car in 4th spot right now.
We'll monitor the space between Cope and Hansen as they move into the corners. Of course, Cope drives it in a little bit. He got some ground back, but there's Sauter. St. Amant is closer, so he got her back up to a full head of steam here, and maybe he can draw in on Sauter a little bit.
Okay, the racetrack right now, clouds have moved in, and we do not have sun on the racing surface. You see Scott Hansen moving back in there. He was much quicker as the sun pops out. I bet he's saying, uh-oh, here comes that loose condition again.
We'll wait and see if he's able to come to terms with Gary St. Amant in the Wynn Chevrolet.
And just as I said that, Mike Cope takes over 3rd spot. The minute the sun came back out, the 5 car, Scott Hansen, started to lose a little grip.
So 3rd place to Mike Cope. Can he draw a bead on St. Amant? We'll wait and see. Rosebrook is back there in the 5th spot, and he may be able to draw up on Hansen here in just a minute. A good solid ride for him in the 47 car. Guy from West Branch, Michigan. Ran at Hawkeye Downs and ran 8th earlier this year. That car driven by Glenn Allen Jr. earlier this season as well. Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Cope is liking what that Florida Auctions car is doing right now. And, you know, his son Travis told him the other day, you know, Dad, I'm running motocross. I'm 13 years old, and I've won a bunch this year. You haven't won anything, so you better step it up and win one of these ASA races.
I'm sure he appreciated the comment.
Well, one thing he's done, he's picked it up, but you know, he has a 2nd place this year at Nashville, Tennessee. This guy, you want to talk about a great driver, Mike Cope is. He had a chance in Busch Grand National. He ran in the truck circuit. He's done so many things in a race car, but anybody that's ever been around the state of Florida knows this guy is a winner.
We're up to 175 laps having been concluded. There's Cope as he continues to move along in 3rd place, really not gaining nor losing anything on the 7 machine in front of him, the Wynn Chevrolet of Gary St. Amant. We have 2 cars sideways. Well, that was Kevin Sawinski is one of them. I think that's Kenny Phillips. No, that was
the Vortec car.
That's the Vortec car, yes. The green and white car. And not the 6 of Kenny Phillips, but the 70, the experimental cars they got side by side. And there is damage to that machine. That'll go to the pits. Brandon Fagan behind the wheel.
Yeah, and that's a D- if I'm not mistaken.
So he moves to the pits. Take a look at it. The 70 car down low and just barely touched. There was not a lot of contact there. Oh, then he goes down into the dirt, and Sawinski takes a hit on the left front. One more look.
Well, they made contact going into 1, and you watch Sawinski just sliding along. Mike Garvey just behind him going, guys, be careful. He goes to the outside, but there's contact the 2nd time as they enter turns 2 over there.
So Kevin Sawinski certainly takes the worst of that. The 70 car, if you'll forgive me, from the race's standpoint, really doesn't matter, because it's an experimental one that is not involved in the competition.
Now, you won't see the trouble getting into turn 1 as they go down in there. Sawinski gets touched as they get down. Well, you see the Vortec car just in front as they head down the front straightaway. That's he right here. As they go down, Sawinski dives in. Now watch the car. Oh, he's in trouble. He's sliding sideways, and boom. They make the 2nd contact there in turn 2.
So under yellow we are once again, and a lot of the contenders, including Scott Hansen, Butch Miller, Robbie Pyle, Stewart, Sawinski, all peel off and head into the pits as they move down along the front straightaway. Probably a frustrated guy right there, Kevin Sawinski. He arrives in his pit. We have Hansen on the point. They're shuffling him up under the yellow flag, and we'll be back to the Glass City 300. Downtown Toledo, the Cherry Street Bridge crossing the Maumee River. Beautiful sight it is. Nice town, Toledo. We're at the Glass City 300 at the Toledo Speedway, just to the northwest of the downtown area. We are under yellow once again, coming back toward the line. The pace car still on the track as cleanup continues, and we have Johnny Sauter still on the point with St. Amant 2nd, then Cope. The number 5 machine, Scott Hansen, currently runs in 9th place in the event. He's won here 3 times, but this hasn't been the best of years. Here's Bob Dillon.
This is a very big name here in ASA. 26 career ASA wins and 3, as Chris McClure mentioned, here in Toledo. But lately, Scott Hansen has struggled. The entire team has. They're talking amongst themselves, trying to figure out what's going on. And Scott, you know, the last couple races, why you've been sneaking up the joint, old vet?
Well, you know, we just haven't had testing time that we need. We don't have the engineers and the computer geeks and everything that it takes to run these Vortex engines, and we're going to do it. We're going to get one. We're going to do it the old way and drive the heck out of the car and get some good pit stops here, and we'll be all right.
Well, Scott Hansen, one of those cagey old veterans, he should be tough today.
Well, we've gone back to green, and he's tough already since we went to that report. He picked up 1 spot, but at the point, it's still Johnny Sauter as St. Amant Cope just behind him.
And one car to keep your eye on, that number 1 car of Mike Garvey. He's made 2 or 3 stops today. He's already back up in the front again. You're riding with him as you start off turns 2 and down the back straightaway. He's moved that car back into contention again, Chris.
And who's he trying to catch right there? Number 6, Kenny Phillips, the garbologist, if you will, who was in the number 12 car earlier in the year, but now in the 6th car and having the ride of the year for himself. There's no question about that, running 4.
Yes, and he's won many late model races at this racetrack. It's his home track. He really likes this place, has a lot of miles on it, and doing a great job today. 5 different people have led this event, though it's been dominated by Johnny Sauter. 6 different changes. There you see Sauter drawing away from Gary St. Amant once again, and right on the hip of St. Amant is number 25, Mr. Cope. I cannot believe Mike Cope. He was so dreadful in practice this whole week. They worked on this car. They got it back into contention, and he's trying to pass Gary St. Amant right now for 2nd spot.
And he may get it done. Also right there is Kenny Phillips. There is not much space from 1st to 5th. The biggest space between any of the 2 cars, you can see it there, Sauter and St. Amant. The rest of those 4 in serial, well, essentially they're all fighting for 2nd.
They are fighting for 2nd, but I have noticed that Johnny Sauter is not going away like he has on every restart prior to this. I think the racetrack itself is getting very, very difficult to get around, a little bit on the slick side.
There is some cloud cover over, but it's in and out, and the heat is building here in Toledo.
And the freshest tires out there right now, the number 1 car there, Mike Garvey, passing on the outside, trying to go by Phillips as they come down the front straightaway.
We'll monitor that while we watch Mike Cope as he tries to draw a bead on Gary St. Amant. Cope in the number 25 machine, the Mannheim's Florida Auto Auction Chevrolet. He has had an up and down season. One great result, as Buddy mentioned earlier, a 2nd place, but a lot more that were down the list and certainly not to his satisfaction. Now Garvey has established the position against Phillips and is starting to draw away a little bit as Garvey gets into the 4th spot.
Well, I asked Garvey if you can pass on this racetrack, and he said, you bet. Sometimes you have to let them have a little chrome horn to make them know you're there. That's bumping them a little bit to get their attention, but I will tell you this, right now Mike Garvey, the fastest car out there, including Johnny Sauter.
And he's got his eyes fixed on the back of Mike Cope right now and 3rd position. Bob Dillner.
Well, crew chief Bon Suss for Mike Garvey told us a little while ago they made a lot of adjustments to that Tecumseh number 1 on the last couple of pit stops. I just walked up to Bon and said, how's the car? He said, it's right on the money. We may not stop, and we may have an advantage out here for the rest of this race.
That's Mike Cope just in front, number 25. He went from 23rd to 2nd in that run at Nashville you talked about, Buddy. That says a lot about him.
It does that. Matt Silsky there in the 10, putting a lot of pressure on Brian as they come off the corner there. 35, Brian, of course. And that's a Washington Apple car. This guy is a great archer. One of our first features that we did this year, we showed him actually shoot an apple from about 75 yards away. A great archer and a pretty good race car driver.
He's trying to clear some traffic and draw a bead on the next position of the track. That is Kenny Phillips, a full turn away, at least 200 yards. But first, he's got to get around the folks he's running next to.
And Scott Hansen there in the 5 car has been up front right now, but he's trying to work his way back.
Talk about Brian trying to get up to traffic and then get through. Now this is a fight for position. Brian at 35 is in 6th, and 10 Sealski, 7th place. Number 5 Hansen in the 8th position. That is a fight now. We got Hansen moving by Sealski and picking up a spot. He's going after Brian.
And Mike Miller in the 18 just behind them. A Janikin car as he goes down in turn 3, that black and white car, right in the fight.
Hansen on the move, right, Sandy?
Well, in the last 10 laps, he has picked off 5 cars, and you've got to know why. He came in and took on new tires. He got rid of that loose condition, but his team says he picked up a little bit of a vibration, but nothing, they say, Scott can't handle.
Well, he's just gotten by Ricky Bryan, and also coming along is number 18, Mike Miller, riding through that traffic. He just goes by Bryan like he's almost standing still. He's got a pretty good car beneath him now.
Great car, able to stay on the bottom. Also, Robbie Powell in the red car there, the Sitco car, as he goes down in turn 3, also moving back through traffic again.
So Mike Miller on the move. We have Hansen on the move. Butch Miller trying to fight his way back into the fray, but this race may have slipped away from him. He's right in 12th place right now, but still up front, still firmly in control, and I think controlling the race from that position is Johnny Sauter.
And if you notice, Mike Garvey now has moved into 3rd spot and putting a bead on the 7 car there, the 2nd place car of Gary St. Amant.
Sauter moves around Francesco Gadesi in the 29 machine. That is lap traffic as he puts another lap on him and moves smoothly into the corner. Doesn't miss a beat, and he really does traffic well.
For a 23-year-old guy, he drives like he's been on short tracks all his life. He makes very few mistakes, and I think that's a strong suit for Johnny Sauter. And you can believe one thing, there's a lot of eyes on this guy all over the country.
Switch back to Bob Dillner.
Down here with Joe Shear, Johnny Sauter's crew chief. Joe, I got a question for you. Can you at least tell Johnny to slow down and make it a good race for us?
Well, this AP Performance Chevrolet here is pretty good, but I think we might be chasing Garvey here pretty soon if we don't play our cards right.
Well, Joe Shear and the boys down here actually very concerned about Mike Garvey. Actually, Joe Shear just told me they are not planning to stop the rest of this way, and they have a lot of laps on those tires, buddy.
They have a lot of laps, but the car looks flawless in the corner, able to pull it back to the bottom part of the racetrack. The one that everybody's talking about right now, Mike Garvey in 3rd spot, that black car right there, number 1, closing in on Gary St. Amant. He's less than 5 car lengths behind now.
He is in 3rd position. There's your 2nd place car, Gary St. Amant at the moment, as Garvey continues to close it down, and the laps being turned by the pursuers have been a little bit quicker than the pursued the last few times around when we saw the splits in the upper left-hand part of the screen. About 103, 104 mile-an-hour laps in the final stages of the race to some degree. The third of this 300-lap event. We're at lap 210 on the afternoon. Now that's balanced against qualifying speeds of about 108 miles an hour. So they're running some pretty quick laps.
They're running great laps right now, but the one thing they have to contend with, they're fixing to catch some of the lap traffic cars, and that's going to change everything. All of a sudden, that great grip that you're having on the bottom part of the racetrack won't be there. You see John Silverthorne there in the number 2 car. All these cars are running very, very well, but Sauter has put such a pace up. He's beginning to lap a lot of race cars, so he's going to be in heavy traffic in just a second.
You see that last lap around, the folks behind him had been running 104, so Sauter stepped it up just a notch as he clears John Silverthorne there and did run a lap at 104. So
trouble.
And we got trouble down there, and the Travis Price car is out of shape at the back section coming off turn number 2, and once again the yellow flag flies with Johnny Sauter on the point and slowing down once again. Perhaps a break for him in the sense that he can cool the tires down a little bit, cool all the systems and everything.
And as you can tell, this is not the first problem that Price has had today. He's been in a couple of mix-ups.
Yeah, 2 or 3 as a matter of fact. The crews stand at the ready in case they are needed. Johnny Sauter pulls in behind the pace car. He leads St. Amant, then Garvey, Cope, and Phillips, the top 5. We'll be back. See the biggest stars in sports entertainment and get a behind-the-scenes look at what's going down in the World Wrestling Federation. WWF Superstars, Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. We're at the Glass City 300 at Toledo Speedway. We are working under yellow, leader lap 218. Let's take a look at what happened from 151 to 200. We were under yellow when we got to the 150 lap mark, then the restart in 155. It's Scott Hansen and Mike Cope battling for 3rd. Beautiful battle there between the two. Cope gets into the third spot. Number 70, Brandon Fagan in the experimental car, gets in against Kevin Sawinski in the middle of the corner, and they slide, and Sawinski takes a bump to the left front, a significant blow in this race, and perhaps a blow to his chances of a top 5 finish or a podium. You see the final moment of that. How big has the lead been? Johnny Sauter in control? Well, just about that big. But Buddy Baker, we had a whole bunch of folks dive to the pits a minute ago, get some new tires, and that may change the picture.
I think so, and Mike Garvey shows everyone you can make a pit stop, come in, get tires, and work your way from the back to the front again. He's done it twice today.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Mike Garvey roaring along in the third position. Sauter on the point, St. Amant second. There you see the rest of the standings as they were the last time by the stripe. We go back to green on the track. You can see them accelerating in the background as we review the field. And off turn number 2, there comes the blue car of the race leader, number 9, Johnny Sauter, and the rest of them strung out into single file, already into turn 4 and onto the straightaway, completing lap 220, 80 to go.
You know, Chris, we're talking about, as we watch the leaders come by, it hadn't changed much up front. But Sawinski was involved in that wreck just a second ago. He's already back up to 8 spots, so that race car really dialed in. Has some nose damage on it. They were able to fix it, and he's working his way back to the front again.
And good news for him that there wasn't any structural damage. It was a relatively light hit. Fortunately, he was able to come away with a race car that would run, and now he can go back to work, running from 8th position, trying to overtake Robbie Pyle.
And Gary St. Amant right now running along in 2nd spot, just really protecting that spot. I do believe that Mike Garvey's a little bit quicker, but Gary St. Amant, a master at protecting that number 2 spot.
Take a look at the line through the corner. Garvey a little higher from the white line, a little further away than his contemporary just in front of him, Gary St. Amant. We continue to ride with him off turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. In the distance, Johnny Sauter, but not that far away anymore.
Yeah, you're right. And the distance now is only about 8 or 9 car lengths. He had been opening up straightaways by this time, so I think everybody's getting a little closer to Johnny Sauter.
There's Kevin Sawinski looking back at the number 47 machine just behind him on the track, but not in the race, so he doesn't have to be too terribly concerned. Sawinski running in the 8th spot as you see him working the wheel and dealing with what is a rough track. Here's Sandy Haig.
Well, I'm with his crew chief, Mike Chaffee. You've got to be frustrated. You had a podium car here, and then you were. What happened with that accident? What do you think?
Kevin said that the Vortec car dumped us, so I really question the wisdom of having that thing out there. I understand what they're trying to do, but he didn't even practice yesterday, and he's running around at half speed. So it's a really bad deal for the Texas Roadhouse team because this place is all about track position, and we still have a really good car, and we got a steam driver now, so we'll see what happens.
That's Mike Chaffee, his crew chief.
Well, I don't blame him, really. Kevin Sawinski continuing to work in 8th place. That's the rear wing of Robbie Pyle just in front of him. He keeps working on him at the point. Travis Price right in front of the race leader with no hood. Here comes Johnny.
Yeah, here comes Johnny, but just behind him, Gary St. Amant's closing in a little bit. He's down to about 8, 9 car lengths, and right behind him, Mike Garvey and Phillips there in the green and white car, running along very, very well, the number 6 car.
They're closing up on him. I don't know if Johnny had to breathe the throttle just a little bit, but when you're overtaking traffic and the closing rate is high, buddy, it doesn't take much of a misjudgment, and you can give up a big lead while you breathe the throttle.
You got to remember, they go all the way around this racetrack in 16 seconds, so you can imagine lifting on the throttle. It does not take long for this to close up to right on the back bumper.
And this is the battle for second. I'm not sure what Gary St. Amant would be more worried about. I suppose Mike Garvey, because he's right there, but he's got to be thinking position 1 on his mind. Look at the line, how much lower he's able to hold that car through that corner.
Yeah, and as they go down there, you can see Sauter giving up a little more. As you see, Gary St. Amant closing in. It's getting tighter and tighter between 1st and 2nd. Mike Garvey right now, as he goes down in the corner, you see the lap car Bell there, the 24, as they come off the corner, every bit as fast as Gary St. Amant. But this is really getting to be a good car race here. And Scott Hansen now moving up in the order also.
You know, we watched that white line as we were going there for Mike Garvey's car. That's Kenny Phillips, who was running in the 4th position. Then Hansen in 5th spot. Good run for Phillips going on right there. But a quick note about this white line. It is right down at the bottom of the track. There really isn't much margin there. You can't go past it too much.
Yeah, but Kenny Phillips now beginning to close in a little bit on Garvey, and he's never been this high in the running order in an ASA race.
And he's been able to hold this position for about 50 laps, right in the top 5, solidly running with the leaders under the green flag. And that really is a step forward for him. And the 12 car just couldn't get anything started. There's Scott Hansen, who right now has Mike Miller on his mind. Miller's right behind him in 6th position.
Miller all over him, and right behind him, Robbie Powell, then Sawinski, Zach, Miller, Cope, Stewart. Let me tell you, these guys are close together, and a good race back in the pack here.
So good races for position up and down the field as we come up to leader lap number 236 of the 300 scheduled. There's Robbie Pyle in the 63 car, the Citgo Chevrolet from Waltham Racing. He moves on to the back straightaway. He's having a nice day in the 6th position, and he did just now slide around Mike Miller. We had the 47 car, that's Rosebrook, who has been out of shape and now back onto the circuit.
Before y'all start writing in about how we pronounce his name, his father came up. He said, I know it's spelled Rosebrook, but our name is Rosebrook, as in babbling brook. So that's why we're saying that, folks.
And he has damage on the front of that car as we go back to yellow. Once again, working leader lap 238. Johnny Sauter on the point with St. Amant and Garvey trying to take it away. Stay there. City 300, round 10 of the ASA AC-Delco series for 2001. I'm Chris McClure alongside Buddy Baker. Look who's on the race course. Number 11, Mike Eddy. He found his way back, Buddy, but he always does.
Yes, and they're working a lot on test programs right now with Ed Howe, the guy that actually makes these chassis for his race car. And for a lot of people that know anything about chassis at all, I'd say Ed Howe probably was the first guy that really figured it out, how to get these cars around and make them very competitive every lap in a race. I drove for him years back, and I'll tell you, he's a smart son of a gun, and look for Mike Eddy to come back to where he belongs up front.
Yeah, he got caught up in that mess in the 2nd or 3rd lap of this event. We thought he was done for the day, but they fixed it. He's going to run some laps. He came back about lap 150 and has been in the race since then. Butch Miller, he got a problem.
Yes, he does. I heard he has a broken sway bar, and that'll make the car very, very hard to hold.
Bob Dillner.
Well, you're exactly right, buddy. And Butch Miller, he really wanted to win and beat Johnny Sauter as we're about to go green here. But Chip Caputo, you're just trying to survive right now, aren't you?
Yeah, right now we're just trying to survive. We've got to have a broken sway bar on the car. And right now the only thing that seems to help is fresh tires. So we're just trying to keep the freshest tires on it that we can.
Johnny Sauter leads them in trouble for the series points leader today.
For the record, Butch Miller runs in the 14th position and is on the leader lap. So there is something to preserve. He's the only guy out here who's run every lap this entire year.
Well, the sway bar actually neutralizes the front and keeps the left front down getting in the corner. So when you lose the sway bar like that, it changes the way the roll center and everything on the race car. And that's why they said if we keep fresh tires on it, keep that grip in the race car. But they lost a major part of the handling on these race cars, especially on a high bank racetrack.
And you see the advancement of some of the key players and some of the others in this event. 10th to 1st for Sauter, Cope from 19th to 9th, and he's been a fair bit higher than that. Zielski's picked up a little ground. Silverthorne has picked up a little ground. Johnny Sauter, he's won from 16th. He's won from up front. He's won from just about everywhere in the field back to 16th. And now he's trying to make it a 10th to 1st run as they continue to circulate. 54 to go. There you see the countdown. St. Amant, then Mike Garvey. That's 2nd and 3rd. That's remained static for a good long time. Phillips hanging on to 4th.
Boy, I tell you, Kenny Phillips in the 6th car, that green and white car right there. He's in uncharted territory right now, but doing a great job, and he does have a lot of experience here. He did win some races here in the late model division, so he knows what he's doing, but he's actually closing in on Garvey.
Yeah, well, you had better than 4,000 laps of competition here and 8 late model wins to give you a specific number or two to chew on. no surprise that he's there. And look at this, Hansen trying to fight off Robbie Pyle, and Sawinski's right there. Also Mike Cope. This is for position. All 4 of them running in the top 10. There goes Pyle around Hansen. That's for 5th place if he can make it stick, and it looked like he's got it. Now Sawinski wants a piece of Hansen. He's trying to go on the high side.
Well, Hansen having his hands full right now. The car has reported having a loose condition. That means the back of the car is hard to control. And you can see right there the car kicks out a little bit as he tries to maintain speed through the corner. Sawinski on the outside, and we have a yellow again.
One more yellow as we get to leader lap number 251. Sauter slows it down, and they close in behind him. Looking around the track quickly, I don't see the source of the yellow flag, but we'll have race control pass that along, I'm sure, in just a moment. But again, a short burst of speed. Sauter is able to hold on to his position. Everything at the front stays pretty much static. And in the top 10, we get a good battle and a couple of advancements, including Robbie Pyle driving his way into the top 5.
No activity right there. You're looking into Johnny Sauter's pit crew. You see him pretty happy with everything, just kind of walking around.
Tristan Dupuis is in the field running in the 21st position, having come back to the series. He has had a difficult year, and we'll check in with him.
Grab your sunglasses because the fluorescent yellow of Tristan Dupuis is back, and he has the fans to thank for this race.
Yes, Sandy, you know, Northern Ohio and all of Michigan, they have some of the greatest race fans in the country. And thanks to some good friends at Flat Rock Speedway last week, they passed the hat to enable me to buy an additional set of tires here at Toledo Speedway. And I need to thank them all. It's my understanding that even some of my old adversaries were pitching in on the fund.
And when you consider a set of tires is $800, they really came up with the goods to help Tristan this week.
Buddy, you were remarking earlier in the weekend, there's a guy that wants to race. A recent development in his life, a little scary moment as we go back to green, proved that.
Absolutely. Going to Nashville, Tennessee, if we watch the leaders go around, I'm going to tell this story because it has I think, for a person that loves racing, you have to admire a guy that wants to race as bad as Tristan does. He was on his way to Nashville, got hit on the interstate, turned over in the medium and almost hit a tractor trailer coming the opposite way, and they couldn't get the car fixed for him to go on to Nashville. He kicked the roof up, knocked the windshield out, put his crash helmet on, and continued on and made it to Nashville.
A heck of a story, and he's running well today. For the record, there was a quick spin by the 05 car, Chris Wimmer, the 09 J.C. Beatty Jr., the 87 of David Elliott, all in the same corner that brought out that short yellow. But we're back to racing. There's Kenny Phillips trying to hold off Robbie Pyle now.
Robbie Pyle on the move. He had been way up in the runnings earlier in the race, and Robbie Pyle right now every bit as fast as anyone on the speedway. But I tell you, track position is so very important on this racetrack.
More from Bob Dillner.
I ran over to Kenny Phillips' crew just a short time ago and asked him, how's he doing? They said he is having a blast inside that car. He is super excited. He knows he's not the best car out there, but he's having a dynamite run. And you know, for a living, Kenny is a garbage man, and he calls himself the fastest garbage man in America.
No question about that, and I know this guy, and I will tell you, he is a fun guy to be around. We call him the garbologist, but let me tell you, he's a serious racer.
Kevin Sawinski trying to go underneath Mike Cope. When we picked up this battle, Cope was way up on the racetrack, and Sawinski was trying to dive down inside, but there goes Cope way up on the racetrack again. He's fought off Sawinski. Now he's going after Hansen. Now they have a yellow flag, and he won't be able to get it. They got to slow it down again. As Sauter jumps in behind the pace car, and everybody on the front straightaway quickly on the binders, and they check up. So quiet in the pits, and it might be the rest of the way. We're at lap 261. Sauter, St. Amant, Garvey, Phillips, and Pyle. That's the top 5. Back at the Glass City 300, we're closing in on the end of a 300 lapper. Lots of yellow this afternoon, and lots of Johnny Sauter at the point, with St. Amant, Garvey, Phillips, and Pyle just behind. That part of it remains relatively static, but there are some fights out there that are something to behold as Sauter sails away, not from everybody, but most of them.
Yeah, and he's starting to go into lap traffic right there. Tristan Dupree, who we talked about earlier, just behind him you see Gary St. Amant there, Mike Garvey in the #1 car, Phillips in the #6, and also Robbie Powell having a great run today. But I will tell you this, you said a fight is turning into a war back in the back part of the field here.
A little bit further back, Kevin Sawinski, who is in 6th position, hammer and tong with Mike Cope, Scott Hansen just a while ago. But we keep monitoring this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th with Pyle trying to track down Phillips. We're on board with Sawinski right now as he tries to move up on Pyle, who's a little further up the track. That's not Pyle, just in front of him.
Yeah, Sawinski closing in on the lead group just in front of him up there, all the way back up to 6th spot.
Now he's gotten by Tristan Dupuis. Butch Miller is out there still on the lead lap, and he's right alongside an old nemesis, number 11. Just swung by him is Mike Eddy, who is a good deal down. I mean, he's 130 laps down in this race from the lead lap, but he's still fighting with everybody he can find.
You're exactly right. They call him the polar bear, and let me tell you one thing. He does not ride, I don't care if he is 300 laps down, he would be out there fighting because he loves to race.
Well, he's lapping as fast as the leaders right now after they effected the repairs on that car. And most ASA enthusiasts will remember 1995 when he came from 2 laps down on this track to win one of these things.
Yeah, Butch Miller fighting a car that we know is not handling whatsoever, and he's worked his way all the way back up to 11th with a broken sway bar in that race car.
Well, he's looking to extend a string of top 10 finishes that extends through this entire season, as well as finish on the lead lap and complete all the laps for the year. This is beneath his car.
Yeah, and you can see all the suspension working right there, but look at the sway bar right in that area right there. You can see it's not doing anything. It's kind of flopping around as the front wheel moves around. You can see right there it should be hooked up. It is not hooked up. It's just kind of free floating. These are the brake ducts here cooling the brakes as it goes around, but you can see the sway bar broken off there on the right front corner.
So that illustrates about as well as you can what he's fighting against underneath the number 52 machine. But he's right up on Matt Sealski, the number 10 car, as he fights with him for position for the 12th spot in the race. Ahead of them, Mike Miller in the 18. All kinds of position battles.
Yeah, Butch Miller, he is an absolute pro. He knows how to work. I bet this isn't the first sway bar he's ever had broken, Chris.
Matt Sealski, the 23-year-old out of Northbrook, Illinois. He showed us earlier this year at Concord how tough he is. Very promising young race car driver.
Yeah, you look at Sealski, he's still in rehab. He hurt himself in Concord over there, had a head-on crash into the wall there, and right now he's still trying to get back to 100%, but this kid has a lot of heart. He drove that race car at Concord with a lot of damage to himself and run the whole race. Everybody said he won't make 10 laps. He made the whole 300 laps. Trouble again.
Again, we go yellow on the course at lap 280. Car number 2, John Silverthorne, looped it and continued. There you see him at a reduced rate of speed, soon to be joined by everybody in the field at a reduced rate of speed as he peels off and heads into the pits. Could be another of the short yellows, buddy. We've had a lot of spinning in the late going, not a lot of contact, so real short yellows, and that's good news as we reach lap 281 and Sauter behind the pace car on the point.
Absolutely, and I think the pace car may have just moved into the top 20. He's been out there just about as many laps as some of the race cars that are out there.
That's for sure. If you call him, count his leader laps, he's right there with Sauter. Sandy?
Well, actually, St. Amant, I asked his father, Bud, I said, you know, now is the time. If Gary has anything for Johnny Sauter, he better be showing it. And Bud said, well, the only thing Gary and the team have got right now is a bottle of champagne, because Johnny Sauter is untouchable. But read between the lines, I think they are a little concerned about what's going on behind them and at least losing that second place spot.
Well, it's still at issue, no question about that, with Mike Garvey right there and with a little bit fresher tires. Johnny Sauter led 31 laps early in the race, then gave it up to Malik for a while. then came out on lap 121 back to the lead. We're now on lap 282. That's a good long stretch at the point. Bob Dillner.
Well, we are going green, and Joe Shear's on top of the box looking for the green flag for Johnny Sauter this time around. There it goes, Johnny Sauter in the lead. We're going to bring Joe Shear down here. You know, Mike Chaffee a short time ago said, you know, I hope the Winston Cup teams are looking. I want to give out Johnny's cell phone number. Do you want to give it out yet?
I don't want to give it. I want to hold on to him as long as I can. What can I say about him? This whole team, the Safety Movers group here, Chevrolet, and this driver is awesome. And he's still a rookie.
Still a rookie, folks. And you know what? I was at the shop this week, and Johnny said, you know, despite the wins, he is still pretty paranoid about everything. He gets nervous. He wants to check the bolts on the car twice, 3 times, 4 times. This guy wants to win bad as the yellow flag comes back out.
2 laps is all we get, and then they slow him down one more time.
Matt Silsky in the 10 car involved in this caution that we have right now. I see some damage to his race car. The left front corner mashed way back.
He was running in the 12th position, and there you see the condition he is in now as he heads for the pits. Here it is, buddy.
Well, you can see he has contact with the race car there. That was Mike Miller on the outside. They made contact into the inside wall with the left front corner.
Tough way to end the day, or nearly end the day. So they slow him down again. Sauter on the point, then St. Amant, Garvey, Phillips, and Pyle the top 5. We have 14 laps to go. Welcome back. There's Matt Sealski, who just a moment ago had contact, spun through the dirt, and whacked the wall, and he's out of the race. Buddy Baker, it was contact, I think, with Mike Miller.
Yeah, you see Mike Miller, oh, they make contact coming out turn 2. That's Sealski going into the inside wall there hard with the left front corner.
Pictures provided by Butch Miller Productions on board down there. We're ready for a restart in just a moment. Sauter on the point, then St. Amant, Garvey, Phillips, and Pyle. A quick note, Sauter's been on this set of tires for 187 laps now since he last pitted for fuel and tires at that time. That's a long time, even with all the yellow.
It is a long time, but I will tell you one thing. The car tracks so very well up out of the corner that he's not abusing the tires. It's just a great package, and he's not overdriving the car and using the tires up.
His car is out of the way. We're going to complete lap 290 on this trip by. The green is out. We got 10 to go. Sauter leads the charge into the corner, and we have us a 10-lap sprint race with Gary St. Amant in second spot, then Garvey, then Kenny Phillips, and they went with him fairly well on that restart. On board we go with Mike Garvey.
Gary St. Amant in the 7th car as they go by the flag stand down into turn 1. You can see Garvey can close just a little bit, but St. Amant from the center of the corner out has a great race car.
We stay with Mike Garvey. This is the back straightaway into turn number 3. St. Amant puts the left tires right down below that stripe. He's been doing that through most of the race. And we complete lap 292. 8 to go as you look at the relative speeds.
And watch Johnny Sauter in that blue car just rocket down the back straightaway there. He's built up about a 3-car length lead. That don't sound like much, but they hadn't been running long again under the green.
You wonder if he can drive away even a little bit further after the short yellow. He seems to just be able to do what he wants with the race car when he wants it. He has been doing that for a good long time. This is his bid, of course, for a 4th consecutive victory. He has won 4 out of the last 5 and has 3 in a row coming here.
One razor blade would shave that whole crew. A bunch of young guys there, but they're getting the job done. And one thing about Sauter, you can go down there anytime. He's under that race car working himself. A great mechanic, brought up in a racing family.
Sauter already has the ASA record for consecutive victories by a rookie. As you see, 2nd and 3rd place, trying to deal with each other and track Sauter down with now just 5 to go. Twice before in ASA racing, someone has won 4 in a row. Bob Seneker, the legendary Seneker in 1991. Butch Miller, the legendary Miller in 1987.
Absolutely, but Johnny Sauter, I'm going to tell you, he's writing the record books, putting new pages in there right now. And the reason for that, watching, he never gets himself in a compromise on the racetrack. Way beyond his years as far as experience.
Less than 2 miles, less than 4 circuits around the course, and it will be his. Gary St. Amant Mike Garvey and the rest of them scratching their heads even inside the car saying, what can we do? Look at that crew. They can feel it now. They can feel it there.
Peach Fuzz group smiling already. They can taste the victory. I'm going to tell you what, 4 in a row in any sport's got to be a great feeling.
Here he comes to complete one more lap in just a moment. Should see the white flag. He does see the white flag into turn number 1 as they move down the straightaway. The file behind him out of the back straightaway. He's a quarter mile from home. Turn 3, turn 4, the blend of the two turns. The 18-degree banking is behind him. Listen to the crowd. Sauter has it. He finishes his 4th consecutive victory just ahead of Gary St. Amant, Garvey, Phillips, Pyle, Sawinski. They've all finished, but behind number 9.
Great call for this young driver. You can see right now, very, very happy. He deserved that victory.
Well, we're running out of time in Toledo. Sauter, we'll talk to him if we can in just a moment. Stay there. We have a verdict at the Glass City 300, Toledo, Ohio. Here's Bob Dillner.
We're down here in Victory Lane. Johnny Sauter sitting inside the car. 4 straight victories for this 23-year-old kid. He's actually very tired inside that car, wiping the sweat from his brow, trying to unbuckle. And I'm sure when he gets out of this car, this crew, as they always have, are going to douse Johnny Sauter, the 23-year-old phenom here at ASA. Well, I am sure that felt pretty good. Johnny, 4 straight wins. Incredible. We asked people at the top of the show, can you be stopped? I guess not, huh?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we assemble really good cars all the time, and you know, I got to thank Alec Pinson, this man right here. AP Plasman GM Vortec powered car was awesome today, and how about them BF Goodrich tires?
Alec Pinsino, the owner of this car, an incredible run. Johnny Sauter tearing it up here in ASA, Sandy.
Well, I'm with Gary St. Amant, the 2nd place finisher. Everyone was asking, are you going to have anything for the kid?
I'll tell you what, Sandy, Johnny Sauter, he's got a really fast race car right now. You know, the way I feel is we were first in class today. He's in a class all by himself, but it's been a while since I've been up here, you know, getting a podium finish, and you know, I just got to thank all the people that helped make this whole thing possible. Wins, AC-Delco, Lane Automotive, Port City Racing, Sweet Manufacturing. Got to thank that perfect Vortec power and that BF Goodrich tires.
Oh, he's a happy camper today, guys.
Top 10, Johnny Sauter on the point, then St. Amant, Mike Garvey, Phillips, and Pyle rounding out the top 5. There you look at the rest of the top 10. We'll be back to wrap it up in the Glass City 300 in a moment. Stay right there. ASA AC-Delco Racing is brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. Our next ASA AC-Delco event comes up next Sunday, July 8th from the Chicago Motor Speedway, Cicero, Illinois. It's a 1-mile oval. It's fast. It'll be exciting. Join us at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We're here in Toledo celebrating along with everybody a show that has just been magnificent. 4 in a row by Johnny Sauter. And Buddy Baker, he moves into 3rd in the championship. I mean, he can think about championship legitimately.
I'd say so. He's only 57 points back right now. Joey Clatton taking a big hit today, involved in several wrecks, moves all the way back to 4th spot now. So let me tell you, this is up for grabs. Butch Miller got a hit too. He's only 39 points in the lead now.
It's going to be a tremendous summer before this ASA riddle is solved. On behalf of Buddy Baker, Sandy Hangenbaum, Dillner, this is Chris McClure thanking you for joining us for this short track attack. Reminding you to join us in Chicago. It's part of the 2001 AC-Delco ASA Racing